Hey friends, welcome back. I am David Rice, your chief editor here at DentistryIQ, and we're back for Gloves Off here today with one of my besties in the biz.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly Tanner. What is up, everyone? Thanks for having me.
I am so glad you are here. We've got some important things to talk about today.
We do. We're going to tee this off with an important conversation. David wanted me to introduce myself. I am a dental hygienist. I'm also a PhD, started off as a dental assistant. I work with high performance teams. I help you make sense of it all. I help you make sense of your doctor, them make sense of you. So it all works. And that's what we're talking about today, just how to keep it real and play nice and everybody stays happy, right?
So I'm a little nervous now with the PhD thing, but how do I keep my team happy? How do we keep our dental team happy?
How do you, David, how do you keep your dental team happy? First of all, you got to listen to them and you have to hear what they're saying, because that empathy and putting yourself in their shoes, because I think we all get caught up with our blinders on, right? Here's where we are every day. And especially, I think the dentist, we love them, but they just want to show up and do the work. And we're talking, we're on the disc assessment, we're the eyes, we're the influencers, hey. But we're talking about important things and they're just like, take care of business mostly. And we just want to give you the information. We're the people who are bringing you the information and informing you about what's needed in the office. And so that empathy, that listening to validate us, I think is a big deal for us.
So the whole 2 ears, 1 mouth thing, helpful for me as a dentist?
Helpful, yeah. And then take your ear pods out. For sure.
Focus. So, I love that. And do you feel, my experience, I'm guessing you'll kind of dive deep on this, is everybody needs to be listened to differently. Like everybody is a different driver. So how do we identify how to best listen to each teammate the way they need us to listen?
That's a great question. And you're right. We could talk about this for an hour, but in a short little bit, people tell you what they want to hear. You'll hear different things that they say. They'll say, I feel like, or I see you do this, or what I sense. They're telling you clues about how to talk to them. It's what they're not saying is that you need to tune into. You do this with your patients already. If you take the time to apply it to your teammates. So when someone says, oh, I can see how that happens. Guess how they learn? Visually. Show it to them. Show them what you're trying to teach them and tell them. Or if they say, I hear you, I really get that. They may want a deeper explanation of something. So listen to what you may not be picking up on. And you can only do that by slowing down, being present, having that empathy, and then providing your full attention.
I love that. Can we prepare for that in advance? Let's say it's, whatever time of the year, maybe we're having a team meeting. Like, is there an exercise we can walk through as a team that helps the leaders lead and the team follow and become leaders too?
Oh gosh, yes, there's lots of ways to do this. My favorite way is to use the DISC assessment. It's a DISC. I love it, because it tells you your observable behaviors, how you're observed by others, because sometimes we think that we show up a certain way. No, we don't. It's totally not the same thing that we're doing. So this will tell people like the triggers, the hot spots of how to communicate with you, how to not. And then what I do with a lot of offices is I'll put up a table to say, okay, if David's this and he's telling us this, what do I not say to Dave when he's stressed? How do I approach him when he is stressed? What are some hot spots for him that he doesn't like to be talked down to? He wants to be collaborated with, dependent on what that information is providing to us. So it gives us a nice little cheat sheet to look over and have this information in our fingertips.
That's so important. I think it's easy for us to get along when everything's going really, really well. Same at home as in practice. It's when, things get stressful and tense that we tend to run into trouble. How about any quick tips or tricks on like when it's going wrong? Like, is there like do you teach teams how to sort of autocorrect?
I do. And I think the first step in that is just to acknowledge it and say, you know what? even when before I send an email and I have a list of my team members here, I'm like, okay, they prefer to be communicated with like this. Just say, you know what, I should have started that differently, and acknowledge that you have done that. And it's like, let's start over, please, because it shows your vulnerability and your willingness to be able to learn, just like anything. If you lean into it, you say, I own that, and let's start over. I think that that's a big one. That's probably one of the most important things.
I love that so much. So dentists, if you did not hear that with crystal clarity, it's okay to not have all the answers, to be vulnerable and to just say, hey, I made a mistake. Can we start over again? Dr. Kelly Tanner, you are awesome. This is super important. As all of us here know, the Great Resignation, it's a real deal. It's not going away for a few years. So the culture of our practice, how we keep our teams happy, how we keep ourselves happy really matters. Any last words of wisdom?
Keep it real. Just be yourself. Ask for what you want. Be honest with what you want and what you need, and listen to what others need as well.
I love it. Thanks so much for hanging out. I know you're going to come back and do this again 1 or 2 more times. So cheers to you and to all of you.
Be well. Thank you.